Nitric oxide, a simple molecule that is highly effective and has gained much attention in neuroscience and cardiovascular research. A ton of research has been done on it for general health, and specifically for brain health. Well, studies published on PubMed continually underscores its importance in brain function and health. In 1998, in fact, the importance of nitric oxide as a signaling molecule was also recognized when the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine was awarded in part for its role as an important signaling molecule. The award highlighted the effects over nitric oxide from regulating vascular function to cellular signal transmission processes. The dynamic nature of this molecule keeps researchers coming back for more ways in which we can understand how it helps us maintain homeostasis as well as play a role in our cognitive health. In this video, we explore the effects of nitric oxide for a sharper mind, referencing scientific evidence. Before we dive in, don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and drop a comment to show your support. It really helps us out. Nitric oxide is a signaling molecule that promotes blood flow, nutrient delivery, and cellular signaling. A 2017 review, which can be found on PubMed, explains how nitric oxide regulates vascular tone, so it maintains that each of your blood vessels remains receiving the correct amount of blood that they need for healthy, clear, and protected dilation. This regulation means that oxygen delivery to the body, even to the brain, will be much better. Eating foods high in nitrate like beets, spinach, and arugula. According to a 2015 study published in the journal Physiology and Behavior, beetroot juice drastically increases nitric oxide. Other foods high in dietary nitrates include leafy greens like spinach and arugula in addition to beets. This regular intake will further assist increased nitric oxide production, which can assist blood vessel dilation, cardiovascular health, and function of components controlling concentration and cognition. We would like to note that the nitrate content in these vegetables can be affected by the method of their preparation. Uncooked or less cooked forms may contain higher amounts of nitrates compared to well-cooked forms. Eating a range of nitrate-rich vegetables could be an easy step along the path to increasing nitric oxide levels. Taking L-arginine and L-citrulline dietary supplements will enhance the generation of nitric oxide on your body. There are numerous papers on PubMed that reference how these amino acids aid production of nitric oxide. L-arginine is the direct substrate of nitric oxide synthase, NOS, the enzyme for converting L-arginine into nitric oxide and L-citrulline. That conversion is important for physiological events like vasodilation and blood flow control. The bioavailability of L-arginine appears to be limited after oral administration, mainly as a consequence of extensive first-pass metabolism in the gastrointestinal tract and liver. On the contrary, L-citrulline has less pre-systemic metabolism and is therefore more readily converted to L-arginine in the kidneys. Therefore, this conversion improves the systemic levels of L-arginine, which in turn leads to increased nitric oxide production. Clinical studies have demonstrated the ability of L-citrulline to raise plasma L-arginine concentrations and enhance endothelial function, providing a useful alternative to L-arginine as a metabolic precursor of nitric oxide synthesis. It is known that aerobic exercise stimulates the body to increase the amount of nitric oxide. A clinical trial from 2020 published on PubMed found that exercise also improved the function of the endothelium in individuals enrolled in a structured exercise program. Physical activity promotes eNOS, which is the enzyme responsible for nitric oxide production in the blood vessels. The improvement in vasodilation allows more blood to flow to tissues and more oxygen to be delivered, thereby further improving the vasodilatory capacity of the area. A systematic review and meta-analysis published in the journal Frontiers in Physiology compared all previous studies on the effects of exercise on nitric oxide levels and found that exercise training has significant acute and chronic impacts on nitric oxide and is therefore beneficial for cardiovascular health. Additionally, it is also the intensity of exercise that may give rise to this tumefaction of nitric oxide. Recent studies show that moderate exercise can lead to vasodilation due to the availability of more nitric oxide because high-intensity exercise may increase oxidative stress and reduce the beneficial effects of nitric oxide. Moderate intensity acute exercise improves nitric oxide-mediated vasodilation, whereas high-intensity exercise may elevate markers of oxidative stress, according to the American Journal of Hypertension. Don't smoke. Manage your stress and eat right. All of these habits guard the enzymes and pathways that produce nitric oxide within the body. Besides these practices, ensuring adequate exposure to sunlight can also help. The sun's ultraviolet A UVA rays stimulate the release of nitric oxide from stores in the skin that may improve vascular function and help regulate blood pressure. Highlighting the cardiovascular benefits of moderate sun exposure, one study published in the Journal of Investigative Dermatology found that exposure to UVA was able to induce vasodilation and a drop in blood pressure. Also, it can be helpful to avoid antibacterial mouthwashes. Such products may interfere with oral bacteria necessary for converting dietary nitrates into nitric oxide. According to a study published in the journal Free Radical Biology and Medicine, rinsing your mouth with antiseptic mouthwash blunted the blood pressure-lowering effects of dietary nitrates by inhibiting reduction of nitrates in the mouth. Thus, it is important to maintain nitric oxide bioavailability through protecting the natural oral microbiome. More and more research on PubMed is exploring the role of nitric oxide in cognitive health. The brain requires sufficient blood flow to function optimally, and nitric oxide may help support this process. This may contribute to mental clarity and long-term brain function. According to a 2019 study published in the journal Neuroscience Letters, elevated levels of nitric oxide can enhance blood flow to the brain, which results in higher oxygen supply to brain cells and higher nutrients. Nitric oxide is an essential mediator of neurovascular coupling, the ability of neurons to regulate local blood flow in response to their activity. This mechanism assures that the regions of the brain that are more active get enough oxygen and glucose to meet their metabolic demands. Nitric oxide is involved in neurovascular regulation, which may play a role in cognitive support as we age. And beyond that, the ability of nitric oxide to induce vasodilation also facilitates the regulation of cerebral blood volume in both physiologic and pathologic states. Nitric oxide plays an important role in controlling vascular tone and maintaining an adequate perfusion pressure to avoid ischemic events and to sustain the essential functions of the brain. PubMed found a review published in 2016 that shows this relationship between nitric oxide and synaptic plasticity, or the strength of the connection of neurons as they develop over time. More plasticity also tends to be best for learning and retaining memory. In hippocampal long-term potentiation, nitric oxide has been shown to function as a retrograde messenger following NMDA receptor activation on dendritic spines. Nitric oxide is also involved in various forms of synaptic plasticity. These mechanisms may contribute to the strengthening of synaptic connections, which are thought to underlie processes like learning and memory. Nitric oxide have also been implicated as playing a role in regulating synaptic strength, which in turn is thought to modulate neurotransmitter release. Nitric oxide can retrograde diffuse back to presynaptically located neurons in order to increase the release of neurotransmitters, which enables synaptic transmission and helps to consolidate memory traces. As nitric oxide increases oxygen delivery, many people report increased mental clarity once nitric oxide levels are maximized. It's a loose and fluffy correlation: more oxygen, more clarity. Not only does nitric oxide increase oxygen delivery to the cells, but it also modulates the effects of neurotransmitters, which can positively impact attention and concentration. Nitric oxide contributes to maintaining focus and mental endurance by influencing the release and uptake of illustrative neurotransmitters such as dopamine. Especially when both sides are evenly balanced, this modulation can give one a clearer focus and attention span for hours at a time. Nitric oxide may help protect neurons from oxidative stress, potentially supporting neural integrity and cognitive resilience. Nitric oxide also helps create an ideal atmosphere for mental clarity and cognitive resilience by decreasing oxidative stress. Studies in behavioral brain research, available on PubMed, indicate nitric oxide may modulate the activity of neurotransmitters, which may assist in mood stabilization ability and help reduce stress markers. In addition, nitric oxide has also been connected to synaptic plasticity, a mechanism important for learning and memory. Nitric oxide signaling has been studied in relation to mood regulation, though more research is needed to understand its full effects. Another way nitric oxide could affect mood is in its contribution to neurovascular coupling, affecting cerebral blood flow in relation to neural activity. Appropriate neurovascular function provides blood to active areas of the brain, which is essential to maintain proper function and health of the brain. This coupling between nitric oxide and mental health is important since perturbations in this coupling have been associated with several neurological conditions. Nitric oxide regulates blood flow through the arteries as we age, and continuous production of nitric oxide is one of the keys to maintaining healthy blood vessels, so that we can avoid age-related cognitive decline. In fact, PubMed has published some studies have observed correlations between nitric oxide levels and markers of cognitive function, though causation is not established. The most critical role of nitric oxide extends past vascular health to neurogenesis, the formation of new neurons in the brain. Studies show nitric oxide regulates neural stem cell proliferation and differentiation, which involved in brain plasticity and repair. This is an important factor because maintaining optimal levels of nitric oxide to support the brain's capacity to heal and adapt to insults may help with long-term cognitive health. Furthermore, not only nitric oxide plays neuroprotective role by regulating oxidative stress in the central nervous system. Nitric oxide itself can serve in physiological concentrations as an antioxidant by scavenging reactive oxygen species which minimize neuronal injury. This neuroprotective mechanisms may help support neuronal function and cognitive performance over time. Nitric oxide is an ever-evolving area of research, and some of these subtleties can be a bit confusing. Answering some burning questions with references from PubMed studies. Is nitric oxide neurotoxic? Under pathological conditions, this excessive nitric oxide may increase oxidative stress. At the same time, normal physiological levels are advantageous and not neurotoxic. The point is modulation. Most PubMed papers are focusing on the beneficial aspects of nitric oxide and physiological values. Does nitric oxide increase serotonin? Nitric oxide, whilst it does have a peripheral effect on serotonin pathways due to its influence on blood flow and signaling in the cells, the current literature suggests that it is more supportive of serotonin than being an actual booster. It can optimize the environment in which neurotransmitters work. Does nitric oxide increase dopamine? While it isn't a direct dopamine booster, improved circulation means that these areas of the brain for dopamine production get better access to nutrients, and the areas can detox better. The relationship is supportive instead of directly increasing dopamine synthesis, as PubMed studies reveal each day. If you found this information valuable, then hit the like button in the video. Follow this subscription allied to never miss updates in the going forward. Let us know your thoughts and questions down below. We want to know about your experiences and insights on nitric oxide and mental performance.